The all-new 100.3 The Beat, throwback hip-hop and R&B. This is the all-new Community Connections. I'm your host, Jade Harrell, keeping you connected to our community.
We've come to rely upon them to inspire and help us enable our youth, ages 6 to 18, to realize their greatest potential and great future start here. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater St. Louis has been good to us. President Dr. Flint Fowler is here to bring some more good news to us that there is a Ferguson Middle School club opening up. Look at y'all. I can't believe it.
Thank you. It's good to see you. And yes, we're excited about it. As you know, our job is to deliver life-changing programs and services to young people, and we're always looking for the next place to be. Mm-hmm. Ferguson is an area that we had targeted quite a few years ago, and as things would happen, it came about for this summer.
Wow. So this was long before the events of last year. It was a target. Tell me how so. What things were you looking at? Where did you see the need?
Well, generally what we do is look out across the metropolitan area, identify those places where services are lacking, perhaps places where students need additional academic support, places where young people don't have a safe place to be during non-school hours, and where in some instances families may not have the resources available to enroll their children into programs and activities that have a higher cost. Because a lot of our things are supplemented through our fundraising, we're able to go into communities and provide services for fees that are generally a lot less than what you would have to pay on the open market, if I can use that term.
Sure. Open market for our babies. Absolutely.
Yes.
There is one, and that's where we find that the disparities arise, is because where it's profitable isn't necessarily where the greatest need is.
That's correct. I mean, if you think about any business that wants to stay viable, you need to have income.
Yep.
You need to have customers, and it needs to be consistent. And unfortunately, all families are not in a position to pay the cost of providing services for their child at the time when they need it the most. So, our real cost is about $5,000 a year to serve a child.
Oh, sure. Easy. But you make that accessible to our families. Now, that's quite a vantage point to be able to look out over the region at those various factors and see where the greatest need is. It's hard to make a decision because I know that our region has tremendous need all over.
Yes, the need maybe will never be met, but we're certainly attempting to do that. And I think the more organizations like ours can come together, the better we have the opportunity to meet that need or to close that gap. So we're excited about being able to do it, and we look for opportunities, and sometimes that opportunity includes partners. So what is that local government like? Are they willing to support you? Do you have a cooperative relationship with the school district that may have to host some of those programs and services? Do you get the kind of parental support, or is there a demand for those services? It's one thing to put a club somewhere, but if the families aren't taking advantage of it, then it may as well not be there. So we look for a collection of things. Are there funders that are willing to support your operation in that location? And, is it a sustainable model? Because you can set up in a community and 5 or 6, 10 years down the road, that community has transitioned. People have moved out. You have fewer families to serve, and you've invested in this infrastructure, and you put things in place to make it happen, and it's difficult for people to get there. So we try to make sure that we're moving to locations that are going to be able to serve children for the long term, and that over time they're going to be able to, we'll be able to garner more resources to sustain those operations.
Very nice. So speaking of which, how is O'Fallon doing?
O'Fallon's doing well. We have a wonderful relationship with the YMCA and the city of St. Louis. That program has grown tremendously. We started summer camp there last year, the summer of 2014, and had a blast. The young people are having a terrific time. They're engaged in a lot of activities. And, we try to measure what it is that we do, and we're getting some good results.
Sure. So as you were looking at Ferguson and all of those checkpoints and key areas of consideration, tell us how Ferguson matched or fit, and did the events of last year make it more timely now than it did in years prior?
Yes. One, there are some services. There's a YMCA there, the Emerson branch. Delwood has a recreation center. And now the city of Ferguson actually has community center that they operate. But there are a number of children there. I think the Ferguson Florissant School District has just under 11,000 students. The Riverview Gardens School District has about 8,000 students. So there's a very large population that goes underserved or unserved. And so we had an opportunity to talk with people and see what role that we could play in helping to meet the need. Oftentimes transportation becomes a barrier to people getting to where they need to be. And sometimes there may be a facility, but they don't have the staff, they don't have the equipment, they don't have the resources, financial resources to make those things happen. So we started a conversation with the previous superintendent and with one of the elementary school principals, found that there was a need and was moving along to get some things up and operating. There were other communities that were a little more ready, where the resources were available. We were able to get into some of the situations a little quicker. And so we went there first, always having Ferguson in the back of our minds, if you will.
Right.
And then the events of last August, moved those things up in a priority order, not only for us, but I think more so for that community and for the St. Louis region in general. I think people saw the lack of resources that were available to young people and recognizing what can happen when we don't meet the needs of children, whether it's academically, whether it's socially, whether it's recreationally, whether it's mentally. Kids have a need to feel safe. They have a need to want to be a part of something, that's sort of a sense of belonging. And so it was.
So was August a reflection of that, would you say?
I think August was a culmination of the things that the things that weren't available, if you will. I mean, I think the emphasis oftentimes was put in the wrong place. If you think about some of the conversations that are taking place today, with the courts and the police, there seemed to be more focus on that than it was the welfare of children. Riverview Gardens School District, has been suffering for a while. I think Ferguson Florissant is trying to keep things in order, and we cannot continue to rely on schools to handle all those things by themselves. It takes, a village, as they say. And I think the supplemental services that the Boys and Girls Clubs bring help students do better. Now they attend school more frequently.
You've got evidence, man.
We've seen
it.
Good evidence.
Yes, there's great evidence. And we'd love to see that in Ferguson and all over.
We do. And I think the resources became available because people wanted to help. And they wanted to tie in with organizations that they thought could deliver. So they just didn't want to, have money there just to have it there. They just didn't want to have resources there just to have it there. But they wanted those resources to address the needs. And so we were asked to come in and take a look at setting up a club there, found a welcoming community.
I was going to ask, you mentioned parental support and sustainability, and so you see that there now even more.
Yeah, and I think it was there.
They're more motivated.
Yeah, and they're more motivated that parental involvement was there, but
it was there.
They didn't have, maybe the places to place their kids, for example.
That's right.
So I think parents want the best for their kids.
Yes,
I don't think that. I know parents want the best for their kids, but they don't always have the support systems in place or the path to follow to get there. And the Boys and Girls Clubs is one of the resources that people can rely on to help fill the gap, if you will. So things began to align. We went out and met with the county executive and met with the mayor. Met with the mayor of Delwood as well. Both the mayor of Ferguson and the mayor of Delwood had a number of meetings with a group called the Ferguson Youth Initiative, which had already been there.
They were
doing some great things. And they felt that their efforts could be boosted significantly if they had a larger organization to connect with. And so they encouraged us to do it, had conversations with the United Way, and then began to reach out to other potential funders, other organizations that we've worked with in the past, and found a good spot.
Well, you bring a lot of value with that, and even if it's just for the idea of being connected to something greater, something bigger, with a clear purpose and mission in mind for our children and our community good. Now, you guys are really good at this. What are you going to bring to Ferguson to make that difference?
Well, we're going to bring what we know, which are youth services. We have programs and activities in the areas of character and leadership development, education and career development, the arts, sports, fitness, and recreation, health, and life skills. And if you talk to young people and you ask them, what do they want?
And I know you do, because I was going to say, well, what do the children say they want?
Yeah, they want a safe place to be.
Yeah.
They want help
They
with
say
their,
safe? Do they
say
specify
place.
safe?
They do. They do. Children want to come to a place where they can enjoy themselves, be themselves, relax, interact with their peers, develop meaningful relationships with caring adults. And as I mentioned before, they want to have this sense of belonging. So if you think about, the identification card gives them that. If you're on a team, you want to dress alike. I mean, so, dance squads.
Get a T-shirt and a uniform.
We see it all the time.
Yeah, we do.
Even in work, there's a uniform. You dress a certain way for the environment that you're in. And this is no different with young people.
That's right. We all desire that. We all desire that.
Yes.
Now, did you build up a new facility, or where are you guys going to be? What do you have?
We're going to operate out of the Ferguson Middle School initially, and that's a great location because of its size. Also, there are a number of other elementary schools that feed into it, so we'll be able to capture the younger children as well as the teens in a place where we can gather a significant number of them. And the Ferguson Florissant School District has been extremely cooperative. I would say even bending over backwards to help us get there. We are considering, a longer-term strategy, whether that includes building a facility or purchasing another facility that we can dedicate exclusively to the Boys and Girls Club work. We're going through that process now. But we do have experience working in schools. We do that with the Hazelwood School District at Twillman Elementary and the Southeast Middle School. Yeah. And the good thing about that is that when the school bell rings, the kids are there and you're able to serve them right away. Or I should say the young people are there, so you can serve them right away. But there are some, additional things you can do when you own your own facility or when you operate your own facility. But the key is making sure the services are available to young people, that you have a trained professional caring staff that's there to support them. That's going to be there consistently because young people need consistency.
Sure. So this is going to stretch you guys too. So how are you growing as an organization? Because this is, like you said, maybe we can't meet all the need, but you certainly are trying to respond.
Well, a couple of years ago, we had the great fortune to be a Deaconess Impact Partner. The Deaconess Foundation worked hard to establish a way to support organizations like ours in a more meaningful way. And so they entered into a thing called capacity building, which allowed us to look at our infrastructure, find out what the missing pieces were, and began to put those things in place in order to deliver more effectively on our mission, and also put the things in place that would support a growth agenda. So, instead of just having, one person in fundraising, now we have 4 people in fundraising. We didn't have an HR department before. Now we do. So those things that are needed to sustain an organization and support your team that's out there delivering the services, we were able to put those things in place, the technology, and bringing smart people on board. I think we can't overlook the talent that we have.
Oh, my goodness.
That can think strategically, that can support our efforts to be in more places and to serve more kids. Because this idea of more kids more often, is really important.
Yes.
Our research shows us that the more frequently a child attends the club, the greater the impact that we're going to have. And that's not anything different than, the more you lift weights, the stronger you're going to get.
Right.
The more you see your boo, the more you're going to love them, that kind of thing. So, it's the same thing with the Boys and Girls Club. But you have to have the right diet. So you have to have the right pieces there. So you have to have caring adults, whether they're volunteers or staff. You have to have the right programs and activities. Has to be fun. And as I mentioned before, kids have to feel safe. If you just think about, basic psychology, kids need to, they need to be fed. They need to be safe. They need to feel loved before they can begin to, really strive to reach their potential and fulfill their dreams.
Or thrive at all, for that matter. So, this summer is predicted to be one of the hottest St. Louis has ever seen. Now, you apparently were prepared for this building because you're already jumping in for this summer, ready to roll this summer with a summer camp. Very excited, starting June 8th through July 31st. A full day, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. How will you address, let's just cut to Jade. What's going to make this so fun? You guys are good, but one of those key things is that it's got to be fun. But how can we address this anticipated heat, violent, intense summer?
Well, I think you have to give young people structure. You have to give them direction, and the camp does that. We have staff that's there to work with them. We maintain a very calculated ratio of adults to children to make sure that supervision is appropriate, and to make sure that the staff are trained to handle the kids they're working with. And I don't think people go out looking for trouble. I think trouble happens when there's not structured, well-developed activities for them to participate in. So just the fact that we're there and we have the opportunity to enroll young people sort of takes them out of that equation. So there are fewer people with idle time that can get involved in activities that are not going to be productive.
Yeah. So along the fun lines, though, for sure, you got field trips and special events to include skating at Coach Light, going to the St. Louis Science Center, the Crest Bowl, Sky Zone, Raging Rivers, City Museum, and one of our favorites is Kokomo Joe's. But your days are full of great things to do and a safe place to connect. This is a really admirable effort, and I'm so glad to see that you're making it available. What is the invitation that we need to send so folks know how to get their children enrolled and connected so that they have an opportunity here at Ferguson Middle School Club for the 2015 Boys and Girls of Greater St. Louis Summer Camp?
Well, if parents are interested in finding out more about the camp, the fees, and the start dates, and how to enroll their child, they only need to call 314-335-8330, 314-335-8330, or they can go to our website. It may take you a little bit to navigate through it, but we're gonna get that updated in such a way that it's easy to find. Or you can call the general club number, 314-335-8000. And we can direct you to the right folks.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure that I provide a link with the show notes here with Dr. Fowler and how to get connected to the program. But you also need our help. In order to build, you need us to help build. Tell us how we can plug in and help you do more.
Well, in a couple of ways. And Ferguson's one of 6 sites where we'll be operating summer programs this year. But we can always use help, whether you're interested in volunteering. Volunteers coach our athletic teams. They serve as mentors. They help out with some of our leadership programs and activities. They can serve as a coach. They can serve as a scout leader, for example. They can assist with our fundraising activities. They can actually make a contribution to the Boys and Girls Club, and no amount is too small. There are a number of people that like to sponsor a child. So our basic membership is $25 a year. There are a number of people that like to pay that. There are some additional costs if you want to play on the sports team or for summer camp. And oftentimes people want to help and they say, how can I help? Maybe they don't have the time to dedicate, but they certainly have the financial resources to support. And so we're always interested in that. We have a number of committees that we have people involved with. We put on several events each year to help raise revenue for the club. And so anyone who's interested can call us. We do have a volunteer coordinator. There's a volunteer button on our website. They can go and get an idea of the types of things that they can do. There's a volunteer application you can download and submit to us, and then we can get you connected and get you moving. Just like with all our staff, we do background checks on all of our volunteers. So we want to make sure that our kids are safe and that the people that they're interacting with have their best interest, the child's best interest at heart.
Absolutely. And let me include, though, if you always want to stay up to date and know what's happening, you can subscribe to their newsletter and get those updates through your email, which I do all the time. That's how I kind of stay abreast of what's happening. So you said 6 sites. Where else can the kids get summer camp this year?
We're at the old Fowler Park location that you mentioned. Also the Herbert Hoover Club, which is on North Grand, our original site. The Adams Park location, which is in South City in the Grove neighborhood. Twillman Elementary School in the Ferguson Florissant School District, and Southeast Middle School in the Ferguson Florissant School District. And this year, starting June 8th, Ferguson Middle School to serve the Ferguson Delwood community.
Very nice. Very well done. Any hints on where you may be headed next?
No.
I don't know. Somebody said something about Normandy.
Yeah, actually, we do have a program that got launched at Normandy this past February. It's called Be Great Graduate. Yeah. And it's an effort to increase the graduation rates within the Normandy High School. We started the program a year ago at Roosevelt High School with the St. Louis Public Schools and found good success. Now we have the opportunity to take that to Normandy, and we are working with Beyond Housing to identify additional young people who can enroll in this in the summer experience there. That focus is primarily on high school students.
Excellent.
It's a little different. And so we're going to spend some time at Normandy High School, about 4 weeks there, then an additional 4 weeks at a local university. We're working out the details on that now.
It's
going to be an exciting summer.
Absolutely. Love it. Well, so proud and thankful to be connected and that you're out here and you were able to come and share this with us. To find out more, log on to bgcstl.org. That's bgcstl.org to find out more, log in, get connected, and all that good stuff there. Again, the phone number for summer camp is 314-335-8330. 314-335-8330. Again, Dr. Flint Fowler, the president of Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater St. Louis. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thanks for being such a wonderful cheerleader for the Boys and Girls Club.
I love them.
When we come back, I'll tell you what's happening in the neighborhood, your community calendar right after this. The all-new 100.3 The Beat, throwback hip-hop and R&B. This is Jade, Harrell. What's happening in your neighborhood? Join in the community tradition to learn about sustainable products and services offered by area businesses and organizations. Meet area nonprofits that share Earth Day values. Catch local musical acts and performance art. Participate in a number of hands-on educational activities and enjoy diverse cuisine featuring local, organic, vegetarian, and vegan options. It's the St. Louis Earth Day Festival happening on Sunday, April 26th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Muni grounds of Forest Park. Free and open to the public, family and dog friendly, rain or shine. This year's event will include special features like yoga classes all day for both adults and children, a rock climbing wall, and a Metro bus mural painting. The theme of the festival is a music of inclusion. Earth Day, every day, for everyone. The Earth Day Festival is a welcoming place where all are invited to celebrate and learn. And don't forget, the Recycling Extravaganza, a collection event for hard-to-recycle items. Everything from light bulbs to bicycles, used shoes, and small appliances. Happening as well at St. Louis Community College Forest Park campus off Oakland Avenue. To learn more, visit stlouisearthday.org. All right, that's it for this week. If you have questions or comments or have something you'd like to submit for the community calendar, you can leave a message on our message box at 333-8369, 333-8369. And for more information about today's show or any of our guests, visit us online at 1003thebeat.com. Look for us next week at 7 o'clock and each Saturday, the all-new Community Connection on 100.3 The Beat. Throwback hip-hop and R&B. I'm Jade Harrell. Be blessed, do blessed, and bless the Lord.